How about the nation's governors? Joining us now for her first national interview since she was sworn in, Democratic Governor Mikey Sherrill of New Jersey. Thank you very much for joining us here on Morning Joe. Congratulations.
Thanks for having me.
And now we get to work. There's a lot to get to. I do want to ask you about ICE because there's new information that's come out that some would find extremely disturbing. We obviously see what's playing out in Minnesota and the tip of the spear, the death of Renee Good and other events there that have played out. And now there is reporting that ICE is doing their operations in Maine, dubbing it Operation Catch of the Day. And then there's a word from the AP that broke late yesterday, an internal Immigration and Customs Enforcement memo obtained by the AP showing ICE officials told officers and agents that they can forcibly enter the homes of people subject to deportation without warrants signed by judges. Now, that obviously is in direct violation to precedent and the Fourth Amendment. The memo from Acting ICE Director Todd Lyon, shared by whistleblowers with Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal, is dated May 12th, and it authorizes agents to forcibly enter homes using only an administrative warrant instead of a warrant from a judge when a person has a final order of removal. This reflects, obviously, Governor, a major departure from the longstanding practice of requiring judge-signed warrants to enter homes. Also, just to add to how disturbing this sounds, the whistleblowers say it was secretly rolled out, shown only to select officials, and verbally briefed to others. We've seen these videos and wondered, where did they get the directive to break into cars, to break windows, to break into houses? And this may be the answer. And just for the record, a DHS spokesperson defended this, saying that individuals with administrative warrants have had, quote, full due process, and that administrative warrants have long been recognized in immigration enforcement. So that's a lot to put out in front of you. But as governor of New Jersey, I wonder, what will be your approach to not only that policy, but to these ICE arrests that are happening across the country, seemingly only to Democratic-led states?
This should come as no surprise to anyone, Mika. We have seen for months this proto-militia that Trump is developing, acting unlawfully on our streets. You just showed a picture of a typical ICE agent, mask, no insignia, Carhartt sweatshirt on, not a uniform. These agents are acting at the behest of Trump. We've heard for months about loyalty oaths to the president, not to the Constitution. So we are seeing the actions now of a lot of work over the months before to get to this point where they're completely violating the Constitution. I've spoken to longtime Homeland Security people who've quit because of these loyalty oaths. It is now fully a militia that Trump is running. And so here in New Jersey, we have the best trained police force in the nation. We are going to make sure we are acting in the public's interest to keep people safe. I will continue to fight these things in court. We are already acting in that space. And we are going to make sure that here in New Jersey, we're fighting tooth and nail for public safety. We're hearing horrible stories of people driving their kids to basketball practice and getting tear gassed. As you saw, the reports that they are going into Americans' homes without a warrant. Imagine somebody busting down your door for God knows what reason. This is the militia on the street, and I will tell you, every single American should be against this. This is against our Constitution. It's part of the reason we're a nation, because this was what British soldiers did. And this is the bedrock of how we keep people safe, is to have our law enforcement who are carrying weapons on our streets with our children on the street act in scope of their duties. ICE is completely outside the scope.
Governor Sherrill, good morning. First time I've been able to call you governor. Congratulations on your win, a 14-point win. There was talk in the days ahead of the election, oh, this is going to be close. We don't know if she's going to do it. And then you won going away with a message that was focused on the economy. Yes, there are many national issues, as we've been discussing this morning, but people in my home state of New Jersey are worried about their power bills and the cost of groceries and taking care of their kids. And it appears in these executive orders that you laid out on your first day after being sworn in there in Newark, that that's where you've gone right away. Let's start with the first one, which gets at power and the cost of heating this winter in New Jersey.
So, Willie, as you saw, the Speaker of the House has completely abdicated any congressional role. He just speaks drivel at this point. It doesn't even make sense. The President of the United States is violating the Constitution with this tariff regime, and he's doing so in large part to enrich himself. He's made billions of dollars. When you hear the speaker say all this money's coming into the U.S., it's coming into the U.S. maybe and going right into the president's bank account. It is actually disrupting our economy. It's taking away jobs. It's raising costs anywhere. We just heard Canada say they are going to lift the 100% tariffs they had on China, which we had asked them to impose so they could really support the U.S. car manufacturing business. And they're going to lift them because the U.S. is no longer a credible partner. So instead of enacting a program that's helping the U.S. economy, the President of the United States is actually undermining and attacking the U.S. economy, all to really enrich himself and his cronies. So what we are doing here in New Jersey is fighting back on this affordability crisis that he is creating. And you said that in the first day I did these executive orders. I would tell you in the first minutes I did these executive orders. In fact, I hadn't even finished my inaugural address where I paused and said, I'm sick of the status quo. We're taking it on right here. I'm declaring a state of emergency on utility costs and freezing rate hikes. 1. 2, expanding power generation. So not only will we do this in the short term, but in the long term. I'm not kicking the can down the road. I'm not, as I said, doing a 10-year study. I'm acting immediately to address this crisis, and New Jersey is taking a different path forward.
So, Governor Sherrill, let's stick with utility rates and car insurance bills. Two skyrocketing indications. Massachusetts and New Jersey, I think, probably have the two highest percentage-wise electric rates in the country. When you say you signed an executive order freezing the rates, how does that work? Nobody can read an electric bill, by the way. You get the dollar amount they're charging you, but the kilowatt usage and everything, nobody can read that. How does it work when you freeze the rates, according to executive order?
We have our utility companies that come forward with rate requests so they can increase rates. We know they've made billions of dollars of profit. So I'm saying BPU, which is our Bureau of Public Utilities, no more. No more, when they bring these rate cases forward, no, not now. We need to put some skin in the game. And I said this directly to our power companies. I said, we all have skin in the game. You guys have made a lot of money. And now's the time to put it back in people's pockets. And with the rate hikes that have already taken place before my administration, I'm going to defray those costs through some of the money that comes in through the BPU. So we will no longer have more rate hikes during the state of emergency, and those that have already taken place, I will defray those costs for the consumer, because for too long we've just put this on the back of the ratepayer. And you're exactly right. There are so many different ways in which these rates are added up, and it's hard to read. I'm taking care of it. I'm going to freeze the rate hikes. Secondly, it's not going to be enough to just freeze them in the short term. We need more power generation. We don't have enough power being generated. Costs are going up. So the second executive order is building out power generation across our state so we can bring down those costs over time. And then finally, I'm working with other governors already, Governor Josh Shapiro, Governor Wes Moore, as we take on our grid operator, who has really not done a good job at managing the grid and getting more power into the grid. And that is also resulted in rates going sky high.
Governor, that grid might get a test, and you get your first test about 5 days in with this massive storm that's coming in, moving up through the south, coming up into the Northeast, talking about at least a foot of snow, maybe more in some parts of New Jersey. You all going to be ready?
We are going to be ready, Willie. We have, on my inauguration day, we were already in meetings about this. We had a meeting with my top leadership yesterday to chart out the course forward. We've already been getting in touch with municipalities, counties to alert them, hey, go get your salt. We got the state roads. You guys got the county and municipal roads, and you need to go pick up your salt and fulfill those contracts if you haven't already. And then we are pushing out information. I've already been on the phone with a lot of the counties to make sure they have what they need. We'll be pushing out information on forecasting from the Office of Emergency Management. So, yes, but that said, I would encourage everyone to, you know what? Have a great family day at home this weekend. Play some board games. Don't go out in this. Stay off the streets if you can.
Yeah, good day to stay home, no travel. Democratic Governor of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill. Thank you very much for coming on the show this morning, and congratulations on your big win. And